have you ever stayed up late, your mind running wild, worrying about things that haven't even happened yet? Or maybe you've spent years waiting for the right job, the right relationship, the right moment, thinking that when life finally lines up perfectly, you'll finally feel happy, calm, at peace. But here's the truth. Life rarely lines up the way we want. And happiness, it's not hiding somewhere in the future. It's not a prize you unlock when you finally get it all right. What if I told you that happiness has been here all along? That peace isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. And that the thing standing between you and the life you're longing for is the way you're thinking about it. Today, we're going to walk through some powerful Buddhist wisdom, simple but life-changing, about worry, happiness, and what it really takes to live with peace in your heart right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to fix everything first. You just have to start, right here, right now. Let's begin. Most of us spend our lives chasing happiness, like it's some prize we'll earn if we work hard enough, get everything right, and finally fix all the messy parts of life. We tell ourselves, I'll be happy when I get that promotion. Oh, I'll finally relax when I retire. I'll enjoy life once everything is in order. But here's the trap. Life is never completely in order. There's always one more bill to pay, one more goal to reach, one more problem to solve. And so, without even realizing it, we push happiness farther and farther away, always just out of reach, always someday. Buddhist wisdom flips that thinking on its head. It says something simple but powerful. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. It's not some big reward waiting at the end of a perfect life. It's not hidden in a better job, a bigger house, or a smoother relationship. It's already here, in this breath, in this messy, imperfect moment. But only if we're willing to see it. Think about it like this. Imagine your life is a beautiful room filled with sunlight, but the curtains are closed. Worry, regret, fear, they're the curtains. And every time you think, I'll be happy when, it's like you're pulling those curtains tighter, shutting out the light that's already there. The Buddhist path doesn't tell you to stop caring about your goals or your dreams. It tells you to wake up, to notice the joy that's possible right now, even if everything isn't perfect. Because, truthfully, life is never perfect. It's always a little messy, a little uncertain, a little unfinished. But that doesn't mean you have to postpone your happiness. Ask yourself, what are you waiting for? What's the milestone, the achievement, the someday you think you need before you allow yourself to enjoy your life? And what if, just what if, this moment right here was enough? What if you could feel joy even with a to-do list a mile long? What if you could feel peace even if your future isn't crystal clear yet? What if you didn't have to earn happiness? You could just choose it. Buddhism points to the truth that a lot of us overlook. Attachment is the root of suffering. Not just attachment to things or people, but attachment to the idea of how life should be. We suffer because we're arguing with reality. We resist what is, believing we'll only be happy once life looks exactly the way we think it should. But here's the beautiful shift. When you stop fighting reality, when you let go of the tight grip you have on how things should be, you open the door to happiness. Not later, not someday, now. We've been trained from the start to believe happiness is something we earn. It's out there waiting for us if we work hard enough, if we push through all the struggles, if we just become better versions of ourselves. It's hidden behind success, tucked away in the future, promised to us if we follow all the right steps. And so we run. We run harder, faster, chasing some vague sense of I'd be happy when, but here's the thing. That finish line keeps moving. The job you thought would make you happy. Once you get it, you find another goal to chase. The relationship you thought would complete you. It's not as perfect as you imagined. The perfect moment you were waiting for, it never feels quite perfect enough. It's like chasing the horizon. No matter how fast you run, it keeps slipping just out of reach. Buddhism offers a different perspective. It doesn't tell us to give up on our dreams or to stop growing. It invites us to realize that happiness isn't some distant reward. It's not waiting for you at the end of the road. Happiness is the road. Happiness is not something you find after life becomes perfect. It's something you find when you stop waiting for life to become perfect. Imagine a woman who worked tirelessly her whole life. She told herself she'd finally relax once she retired. She put her head down and pushed through the years, saving her vacations, her hobbies, her peace for someday. But when she finally reached retirement age, ready to enjoy all the life she would put on hold, illness arrived first. Her body, worn down by years of stress and postponement, refused to cooperate. The days she thought would be filled with freedom were instead filled with doctor visits and fatigue. It's a heartbreaking story, but a common one. How many of us are living in the same way, waiting for the right moment to finally let ourselves be happy, saving joy for a future that is never guaranteed? Buddhist wisdom challenges this deeply ingrained habit. It whispers, you don't have to wait. You don't have to fix everything first. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show up for your life as it is right now. You see, the problem isn't that happiness is hard to find. The problem is we keep putting it off. We keep telling ourselves the present moment isn't good enough, that we aren't good enough. We keep postponing joy, believing it will come later, when we're richer, thinner, more successful, more loved. But joy doesn't live in the future. It can't. The future is just an idea, a collection of maybes and what-ifs. The only place happiness can ever exist is right here, right now, in this imperfect, unfinished, unpredictable moment. Think about it. Right now, in this moment, are there things you can appreciate? A breath you can take? A small pleasure you can notice? The warmth of a cup of tea? The sound of the wind outside your window? The smile of someone you love? The simple fact that you are alive, breathing here. It doesn't mean life is perfect. It doesn't mean there aren't problems to solve, goals to pursue, struggles to face. It means those things aren't prerequisites for happiness. It means happiness isn't what happens after the struggle ends. It's what happens when you stop struggling against the present moment. Buddhist teachings tell us that suffering comes from attachment. Not just attachment to material things, but attachment to how we think life should be. We suffer when we cling tightly to our ideas about the future. We suffer when we refuse to accept what is, insisting life must match our expectations before we allow ourselves to be content. But what if we loosened that grip? What if we allowed ourselves to find joy even when things aren't perfect? What if we stopped waiting for life to give us permission to be happy and just gave ourselves that permission right now? It's a radical idea in a world obsessed with achievement and perfection, but it's also liberating. It means you don't have to delay your happiness one more day. You don't have to wait until you've checked off every box on your to-do list or crossed every finish line you've set for yourself. You can be happy now with the life you have, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours, because you're alive in it, because there's beauty even in the mess. There's a practice in Buddhism called mindfulness. At its core, it's about being fully present with what is. It's about noticing life as it's happening instead of rushing past it on the way to somewhere else. It's about seeing the sunlight on the floor, hearing the laughter of a child, feeling the breath move in and out of your body. and realizing that these moments are not obstacles on the way to happiness. They are happiness. Mindfulness teaches us that when we are fully present, even ordinary moments become extraordinary. Washing dishes, walking to the mailbox, tying your shoes. They can all be doorways to joy if you are fully there for them. It's not that you give up on goals or dreams. It's that you stop sacrificing your present life for a future that may never come. It's that you start finding meaning and beauty right where you are. Ask yourself, what small, ordinary moments have you been rushing past, ignoring, missing because you were too busy worrying about the next big thing? What joys have you postponed, waiting for some perfect future moment that may or may not ever arrive? What if today you decided to stop waiting? What if today you decided that happiness isn't something you have to earn, but something you can step into right now? No more "I'll be happy when." No more putting your joy on layaway. No more telling yourself you have to deserve it. You deserve it now, just as you are. In this moment, there's a Zen saying, when walking, just walk. When eating, just eat. It sounds simple, even obvious. But think about how often we do neither. How often do you walk while worrying about your next meeting, or eat while scrolling through your phone, hardly tasting the food? How often are you here, but not really here? Happiness lies in the simple act of being fully where you are. Walking when you walk, eating when you eat, breathing when you breathe. It's not complicated. It's not grand. It's profoundly ordinary. And that's what makes it powerful. Children understand this naturally. Watch a child playing. They are worried about tomorrow. They aren't regretting yesterday. They're fully absorbed in the now. They are alive to the moment, joyful without trying. Somewhere along the way, we forget how to do that. We trade our natural presence for plans and worries and regrets. But the good news is, it's not lost. It's just hidden. And it's never too late to come back to it. You can start right now. You don't need anything special. You don't need permission. You don't need life to look different than it does. You just need to open your eyes, take a breath, let go of the idea that happiness is somewhere else, sometime later, after you've earned it, and start noticing the life that's already here. Start feeling the sunlight on your skin. Start hearing the laughter in the air. Start tasting your food, really tasting it. Start being fully, unapologetically present for your one precious life. There's no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. It's not hidden. It's not waiting. It's here, now. And it's been here all along. All you have to do is stop running past it. All you have to do is stop postponing it. All you have to do is stop believing the lie that you have to fix yourself, fix your life, fix the world before you're allowed to feel it. You are allowed to be happy now. You are allowed to find joy in the imperfection. You are allowed to open the curtains and let the sunlight flood in. Not someday, but today, because today, just as it is enough. And so are you. If we're honest, most of the time worry feels like it's doing something for us. It feels like it's protecting us. We think if we just worry enough, we can somehow control what's coming. If we plan enough, if we prepare enough, maybe we can avoid the bad stuff. Maybe we can make the future safer. But if you've ever been caught in a cycle of worry, you know the truth. It doesn't really help. It drains you. It exhausts you. And it rarely changes anything. It just makes you tired, anxious, and less present for the life you're living right now. Buddhism teaches something that can change the way we see worry forever. It tells us that worry is not reality. Worry is not a warning from the universe. Worry is a story your mind is telling you. It's not a fact. It's not the truth. It's just a thought that you don't have to believe. Most of us don't realize how powerful that is. We believe our thoughts by default. They pop into our heads and we assume they're true. But they're not. Thoughts are just thoughts. They're like clouds passing through the sky. They come, they go, and if you don't grab onto them, if you don't chase them or fight them, they drift away. Worry feels real because it feels urgent. It's loud. It demands attention. It flashes worst-case scenarios through your mind like a movie you never asked to see. But just because a thought is loud doesn't make it true. Just because a thought feels urgent doesn't mean it deserves your attention. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a radio station, playing all kinds of songs, some you love, some you hate. Worry is just one of the channels. You don't have to tune in. You don't have to sit there listening to a song you don't like, believing it's the only thing on the air. You can change the station. You can turn the volume down, or you can just let it play in the background while you get on with living your life. There's a story about a student who was terrified before an important exam. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't focus. Her mind kept playing the same fear on repeat. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if this ruins everything? She tried to fight the fear. She tried to force herself not to think about it, but the more she resisted, the stronger it got. Finally, she tried something different. She didn't fight the fear. She didn't try to silence it. She just watched it, like clouds passing by, like a radio playing in the next room. She named it, that's fear. That's worry. She breathed. She stayed present. And slowly the fear loosened its grip. She could see the exam for what it really was. Just a test, not a life or death event, not the end of the world. Just one moment in a long unfolding journey. And when she sat down to take it, she was calmer, clearer, more focused. Not because the fear disappeared, but because she stopped believing it had all the power. This is what Buddhism teaches us about worry. It's not something you have to wrestle with or defeat. It's not something you have to get rid of completely. It's just a thought, a visitor, and you can choose how much power you give it. Think about how much energy you've spent worrying about things that never happened. How many hours you've lost playing out worst-case scenarios that never came true. How much peace you've sacrificed, waiting for the mind to be quiet before you allow yourself to feel calm. Worry is persuasive. It tells you that if you don't think about every possible problem, you're being careless. It convinces you that worrying is the responsible thing to do. But worrying doesn't prevent the bad things. It just steals the good ones. It takes away today's peace without protecting tomorrow. Buddhist wisdom invites us to do something radical. It invites us to stop believing everything we think. It invites us to treat worry not as a warning, but as a pattern, a habit, a reflex. It invites us to recognize that the mind is a storyteller, and that not every story it tells deserves to be believed. You can learn to watch your thoughts the way you watch clouds move across the sky. You don't chase them. You don't fight them. You don't try to control them. You just notice. You breathe. You let them come. You let them go. You can learn to see worry for what it is. A shadow, not a substance. A story, not a prophecy. And when you do, you find something surprising. You find that you have more space, more freedom, more peace. You realize that you're not trapped by your thoughts. You're not at their mercy. You can live your life without being dragged around by every worry that passes through your mind. This isn't about pretending bad things can't happen. It's about recognizing that worrying about them doesn't stop them, and worrying about them doesn't prepare you for them. It just keeps you stuck in fear. You can handle hard things when they come. You have before. You will again. You don't need to live in fear of the future to survive it. The truth is, life is unpredictable. No amount of worry will change that. But you can meet that unpredictability with calm, with presence, with the steady, grounded strength that comes from not being tangled up in every fearful thought. Imagine how much lighter your life would feel if you didn't carry every worry with you everywhere you go. Imagine how much more energy you'd have for the things that matter, for the people you love, for the dreams you want to chase, for the quiet moments of joy you've been too distracted to notice. You are not your worry. You are not your fear. You are the awareness behind it all. Steady, strong, free. The next time worry rises, try this. Pause. Take a breath. Name it. That's worry. Then watch it like a cloud passing by. Don't grab it. Don't push it away. Just let it drift. You'll be amazed at how much softer life feels when you stop believing every scary story your mind tells you. You'll be amazed at how much peace you can find when you remember that not every thought deserves your trust. You have a choice. You can live at the mercy of worry, or you can live rooted in something deeper, something steadier. You can live in the quiet, powerful space that opens up when you stop chasing every fear. You can live your life, not the life your worries are imagining, but the life that's actually here. And that life, this life, is waiting for you. It's easy to think that pain is what causes our suffering. A broken heart, a lost job, a hard diagnosis. They hurt, no doubt. But if you look closely, you'll see something deeper going on. Pain is part of life. It's unavoidable. Suffering, though, suffering is something we create. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the root of suffering isn't the pain itself. It's our attachment. It's the way we cling to how we think life should be. It's the way we fight what's happening instead of accepting it. Pain knocks on the door. Suffering is when we open the door, invite it in, and start feeding it dinner. Think about the last time you were disappointed. Maybe you didn't get a job you wanted. Maybe a relationship didn't work out. Maybe life just didn't go the way you planned. The event itself hurt, sure. But what made it worse was the story you told yourself about it. This shouldn't have happened. I'm a failure. Things will never get better. That's where the suffering grows, in the gap between what is and what we believe should be. Your mind has a way of labeling everything. Good, success, failure, fair, unfair. And once it slaps a label on something, it holds on tight. It starts spinning stories around that label. It argues with reality. And that argument is where so much of our pain turns into suffering. Buddhism invites us to look at that process with fresh eyes, to ask, is it the event that hurts, or is it the meaning I'm attaching to it? Because the truth is, most of the time, it's not the event itself that makes us miserable. It's the expectations we're clinging to. It's the belief that life should have gone differently. It's the resistance. Imagine you're caught in the rain without an umbrella. You get wet. That's just what's happening. It's uncomfortable, sure. But if you start fuming, this is terrible. This always happens to me. Why can't anything ever go right? That's suffering. You're not just wet anymore. You're trapped in a story about how unfair it is that you're wet. Or think about traffic. Sitting in traffic is just sitting in traffic. It's the thoughts about the traffic. I'm going to be late. This is wasting my time. This is ridiculous. That turn it into a miserable experience. Pain is real. But suffering is a choice. A choice made moment by moment based on how we respond to what's happening. This doesn't mean we should just pretend we don't feel anything. It doesn't mean denying our emotions or faking happiness. It means recognizing that emotions are like waves. They rise, They fall. They pass. Suffering happens when we cling to the wave, trying to freeze it in place or push it away. The mind is a master storyteller. It can take the smallest setback and spin it into a disaster. It can take a moment of uncertainty and turn it into a full-blown crisis. It does this not because it's cruel, but because it's trying to protect you. It thinks if it can predict every bad thing, it can keep you safe. But in reality, it's often trapping you in a cage of your own making. Here's the key. You don't have to believe every story your mind tells. You don't have to accept every label it slaps on a situation. You don't have to fight reality. You can learn to notice the labels without getting tangled in them. You can learn to see the stories for what they are, stories, not facts. Ask yourself right now, what am I mentally fighting? Maybe it's the way your career is unfolding. Maybe it's a relationship that isn't meeting your expectations. Maybe it's a fear that you're falling behind in life. Whatever it is, look at the thought underneath it. Is it absolutely true? Or is it just a belief you've rehearsed so many times that it feels like truth? There's an old Buddhist teaching. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. You can't control every twist and turn of life. You can't stop the rain from falling. You can't keep traffic from happening. You can't prevent every loss, every heartache, every disappointment. But you can choose how you meet those moments. You can meet them with resistance, demanding they be different. Or you can meet them with acceptance, letting them be what they are without adding extra pain. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean liking everything that happened. It means seeing reality clearly without the fog of judgment and resistance. It means letting go of the idea that life has to match your expectations to be worth living. It means recognizing that peace isn't found in a perfect life. It's found in a mind that doesn't argue with life. Imagine how much lighter your life would feel if you stopped fighting every moment that didn't go your way. Imagine how much energy you would free up if you stopped labeling every experience as good or bad, success or failure. You could simply live. You could show up for your life as it is, not as you wish it would be, but as it is. You could meet each moment with a calm heart, an open mind, and a deep trust that you can handle whatever comes. You could remember that you are bigger than your circumstances. You are not your disappointments. You are not your failures. You are not the rain or the traffic or the missed opportunities. You are the awareness that sees all of it. You are the sky, wide and steady, that holds all the weather without being broken by it. And in that space, the space between what's happening and how you choose to respond, there is freedom, real, lasting freedom. The freedom to feel pain without turning it into suffering. The freedom to experience life without being crushed by it. The freedom to live with an open heart, even when life is messy and unpredictable. And maybe, just maybe, that's where real peace begins. Not in getting everything right, not in controlling every outcome, but in letting go of the fight, in meeting life as it is, in choosing to live free. If you're like most people, your mind loves to live anywhere but here. It's constantly pulling you back into the past, replaying old mistakes, reliving old hurts, revisiting things you wish you could change, or it's dragging you into the future, worrying about what might happen, planning for problems that haven't even arrived yet. Rarely does the mind settle into the present moment. Rarely does it just stay here, with what's real, with what's happening now. But here's the thing, the past, it's over. The future, it hasn't happened yet. The only place life actually exists is right here, right now. Buddhist wisdom teaches us a simple truth. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. It sounds easy, but in practice, It's one of the hardest things to do. The mind is restless. It's always looking for something to fix, something to solve, something to fear. But the present moment is not a problem to solve. It's not something to fix or control. It's something to experience. Think of your mind like a lake. When the surface is calm, you can see straight to the bottom. Clear, steady, undisturbed. But every time you stir the water, with regrets about the past, with fears about the past, with fears about the future, you lose clarity. You lose clarity. You rest. The past and future are like stones thrown into that calm water. Each thought, each worry, each regret sends ripples across the surface. And soon, you can't see clearly anymore. You can't find peace, not because peace isn't there, but because the water is too stirred up to notice it. The truth is, worry cannot survive in the now. Regret cannot survive in the now. They only exist in time, in the moments you are not actually living. Right now, there is no past. Right now, there is no future. There is only this breath, this heartbeat, this moment, and in this moment, you are okay. You may have problems to solve later. You may have pain to face tomorrow. But right now, in this breath, you are alive. You are breathing. You are here. And that is enough. Imagine how different life would feel if you lived more fully in this space. The space of now. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you stopped carrying the past on your back, stopped dragging the future behind you like a heavy suitcase. Imagine if you set it all down, just for a moment, and stood in the clear, open air of the present. There's a story about a Zen master who was asked, "How do you stay so calm, even in chaos?" He smiled and said, "When I'm walking, I walk. When I'm eating, I eat. When I'm sitting, I sit." The student replied, "But don't we all do that?" The master answered, "No. When you are walking, your mind is already at work. When you are eating, your mind is already worrying. When you are sitting, your mind is already somewhere else." That's the difference. Presence is simple, but it's not easy. It asks us to stop living in the movie our mind is constantly playing. The one made of fears and what ifs and should have. It asks us to come home to what's real, to what's right in front of us. Your breath, your body, the feeling of your feet on the ground, the sound of the wind in the trees, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. The simple, profound experience of being alive right now. This isn't about denying your responsibilities. It's not about ignoring your plans or pretending the past didn't happen. It's about not living there. It's about remembering that life doesn't happen in your memories. It doesn't happen in your worries. It happens here. When you bring your mind back to the present, you reclaim your life. You stop being a prisoner of yesterday and tomorrow. You step into the only place peace can exist, the now. It's not complicated. It's not mystical. Next time your mind starts racing, next time you feel anxiety rising or regret creeping in, try this. Pause. Take a deep breath. Pause. Take a deep breath. Notice your feet on the ground. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Listen to the sounds around you. Come back to now. The more you practice, the more you'll notice something incredible. You'll notice that most of the problems you think you have don't exist in this moment. You'll notice that most of the fear you carry is about things that aren't happening right now. You'll notice that the peace you've been searching for isn't something you have to find. It's something you return to by being here. It doesn't mean life will be perfect. It doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It means you'll meet them from a place of clarity instead of chaos. It means you'll live with more calm, more presence, more joy, because life Real life is happening now. Not in the past you can't change. Not in the future you can't control. Now, this breath, this heartbeat, this step, this pause. Don't miss it. Don't rush past it. Don't trade it away for a life that only exists in your mind. You don't need to fix the past. You don't need to control the future. You just need to be here. Because here, right here, is where peace lives. And it's been waiting for you all along. Letting go sounds simple. But when you try to do it, you realize just how tightly you've been holding on. Holding on to old hurts. Holding on to fears about the future. Holding on to plans that aren't working. Holding on to versions of yourself that no longer fit. We grip so tightly because we think if we let go, we'll lose control. We think if we loosen our hold, everything will fall apart. But here's the truth. Most of the things we cling to are the very things weighing us down. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes not from life itself, but from our attachment to life being a certain way. The tighter we grip, the more we suffer, the more we resist, the more we hurt. Imagine holding a handful of water. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you relax your hand, if you open your palm, the water rests gently there. Life is the same way. The more we try to control it, predict it, force it into our idea of how it should be, the more it slips away from us. The more anxious we become, the more joy we miss. There's a story of a man hanging from the edge of a cliff. He's gripping a branch for dear life. Below him are jagged rocks. Above him, no one is there to pull him up. He cries out, "Is anyone up there? Help me!" A voice answers, "Let go!" He looks down, terrified. "Let go!" He looks down, terrified. The voice repeats, "Let go!" He's too scared to trust it. So he holds on, straining, struggling, exhausting himself. Hours pass. Finally, his strength gives out. He lets go and falls just a few feet onto a ledge he couldn't see before. Sometimes the ground is closer than we think. Sometimes the only thing keeping us stuck is our refusal to trust. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean not caring. It means trusting that you don't have to control everything to be okay. It means trusting that life knows what it's doing even when you don't. It means recognizing that trying to grip the river won't stop it from flowing. It means learning to float instead. Look at your life right now. What are you gripping so tightly? It's making you tired. What are you fighting to control, even though it's beyond your reach? Maybe it's a job that isn't working anymore. Maybe it's a relationship that's outgrown its time. Maybe it's a version of success that no longer feels right. Whatever it is, ask yourself, is this grip giving me peace? Or is it stealing it? Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing. It means you loosen your grip enough to breathe again. It means you create space. Space for new things to grow, for unexpected blessings to appear, for life to surprise you. Sometimes we cling to things because they feel familiar, not because they're good for us. Sometimes we hold on to old dreams, old identities, old fears, simply because we're afraid of the unknown. But the unknown isn't always something to fear. It's also where new life begins. A seed has to let go of its shell to become a tree. A river has to let go of the mountain to find the sea. And you have to let go of what's not meant for you to become who you're meant to be. This doesn't mean letting go is easy. It's not. It's a practice, a daily choice to loosen your grip just a little. A daily reminder that life isn't something you can control like a machine. It's something you're invited to dance with, to move with, to flow with. Letting go asks for trust. Trust that you can handle whatever comes. Trust that even if you don't know what's next, It will be okay. Trust that you don't have to know everything to move forward. Imagine the freedom of walking through life with open hands instead of clenched fists. Imagine the lightness of carrying only what's yours to carry and setting the rest down. You don't have to carry the weight of the world. You don't have to hold on so tightly that you lose yourself in the process. You can let go. Let go of the timeline you thought you had to follow. Let go of the need to have all the answers. Let go of the version of yourself that's based on fear. And when you do, you'll find something incredible. You'll find that life has a way of holding you up when you stop gripping so hard. You'll find that peace rushes in when you create space for it. You'll find that trust, real trust, is the ground you land on when you finally let go. Start small. Take one thing you're clinging to and soften your hold on it. Breathe. Release. Release. And notice the space that opens up. Notice the ease that returns. Notice the quiet, steady joy that comes from no longer wrestling with life. Letting go isn't the end of control. It's the beginning of freedom. And freedom, real freedom, starts when you trust that you don't have to grip every branch to keep from falling. You can open your hands. You can let go. And when you do, you'll find that the life you've been clinging to is smaller than the life that's waiting for you. Most of us grow up thinking that if we fight hard enough, if we push against life with enough force, we can make it bend to our will. We believe that if we resist what's happening, if we argue with it, deny it, hate it, somehow we'll change it. But here's the truth. Resisting life doesn't stop the hard things from happening. It just makes them harder to bear. Buddhist wisdom teaches something both simple and radical. Peace comes from acceptance, not from getting what you want, but from accepting what is. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to like everything that happens. It doesn't mean you approve of every twist and turn. It means you stop pretending reality should be different than it is. It means you stop fighting the river and learn to move with it instead. Think about how much energy you spend every day resisting reality, wishing things were different, wishing people were different, wishing you were different. It's exhausting. It's like trying to row upstream with a broken paddle. All effort, no progress. But when you let go of resistance, when you accept what is, you stop wasting energy on a fight you can't win. You free up that energy to live, to heal, to move forward. There's a story about a monk who was robbed and beaten. When asked later if he was angry, he said, "There was pain. Why add hatred to it? Pain is part of life." Loss, disappointment, failure, they happen to all of us. But suffering comes when we add resistance to that pain, when we tell ourselves, this shouldn't be happening. This ruins everything. I can't handle this. Acceptance doesn't erase the pain, but it keeps us from multiplying it. It keeps us from turning pain into suffering. It allows us to meet life with a softer heart, a steadier mind. It allows us to move through hard times without being broken by them. Look at your own life right now. What are you resisting? Maybe it's a change you didn't want. Maybe it's a loss you didn't expect. Maybe it's simply the fact that life isn't unfolding the way you thought it would. Ask yourself, is resisting this making it easier? Or is it making it harder? Most of the time, resistance doesn't change reality. It just changes us. It makes us tighter, angrier, more bitter. It closes our hearts when we need them most to be open. Acceptance, on the other hand, opens the door to peace. It says, this is what's happening. I don't have to like it, but I can face it. I can be with it. I can move through it. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean becoming passive or weak. It means choosing reality over fantasy. It means choosing presence over illusion. When you accept what is, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You stop wasting energy on what you can't change. You start focusing on what you can, your attitude, your response, your next step. Imagine how much lighter your life would feel if you stopped fighting the present moment. Imagine how much more peace you would feel if you let life be what it is, without demanding it be something else. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop dreaming or hoping or working for change. It means you stop tying your happiness to things you can't control. It means you anchor your peace inside yourself, not outside of you. Because here's the thing, life won't always go the way you want. People won't always behave the way you hope. Plans will fall apart. Dreams will change. Loss will come. But if your peace depends on everything going your way, you'll spend your life waiting for a moment that never comes. Real peace, the kind that lacks problem to solve. You are a person to love. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. Imagine seeing yourself not as a project, but as a friend. Not as a list of failures and imperfections, but as a human being doing the best they can. Imagine offering yourself the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Imagine saying you don't have to earn love. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy, because it's true. There's a story about a cracked clay pot used to carry water. Every day the pot would leak along the path. It felt ashamed, embarrassed by its cracks. One day, it apologized to the gardener who used it. But the gardener smiled and said, "Haven't you noticed? The flowers bloom only on your side of the path. Your cracks have watered them all along. The very thing the pot thought made it broken was what allowed beauty to grow. You are the same. Your cracks, your flaws, your struggles, they are not signs of failure. They are the places where your compassion grows, where your empathy deepens, where your true beauty shines through. You don't have to be flawless to be lovable. You don't have to be fixed to be enough. Growth is good. Healing is important. But they should come from love, not from shame. Self-improvement that's driven by shame will never satisfy you. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you change, it will never feel like enough, because shame always moves the finish line. It always tells you, not is different. It's softer. It's gentler. It's real. It doesn't push you forward with fear. It draws you forward with care. It says, "I love you exactly as you are. And because I love you, I want to see you grow." You are not here to become perfect. You are here to become more fully, more deeply, more honestly yourself. You are not broken. You are becoming. The cracks in your life, the failures, the heartbreaks, the losses, they are not proof of your inadequacy. They are part of your story. They are how the light gets in. Imagine living your life with that kind of self-compassion. Imagine waking up every morning not thinking, "How can I fix myself today?" but instead asking, "How can I love myself today? How can I support my growth with kindness, not cruelty?" Imagine walking through life not as your own harshest critic, but as your own dearest friend. It's not about ignoring your flaws. It's not about pretending you have no work to do. It's about shifting the way you see yourself. It's about moving from shame to acceptance, from judgment to love. There's a quiet power in accepting yourself as you are, not because you're giving up on growth, but because you're giving up on self-hate. Self-compassion is not weakness. It's not laziness, it's courage. It's strength. It takes courage to look at yourself, your real self, and say, even here, even now, I am worthy. It takes strength to walk through life without beating yourself up at every turn. To grow because you want to thrive, not because you feel broken. You don't plant a tree and yell at it to grow faster. You water it. You give it light. You protect it from harsh winds. You nurture it. And in time, it grows, not because it's forced to, but because it's supported. You are the same. Stop trying to fix yourself. Start trying to support yourself. Start offering yourself the compassion you've been waiting for someone else to give you. Because here's the truth. You deserve it. You always have. Not because you're perfect, but because you're human. The journey isn't about becoming flawless. It's about becoming real. It's about becoming whole. It's about remembering that the cracks aren't mistakes. They're part of the design. You're not a broken machine. You're a blooming garden, a work of art, a story still being written. Treat yourself that way. Not someday, not when you're better, not when you're fixed. Now, exactly as you are. If you stop and really listen, you'll notice something strange about your mind. It never seems to stop talking. It's always chattering away, offering opinions, judgments, fears, memories, predictions. It comments on everything. Your past, your future, your worth, your failures, your hopes, your fears. It acts like it knows everything. It acts like it's telling you the truth. But here's what Buddhist wisdom teaches, and what so many of us forget. Your thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. Just because your mind says it doesn't mean you have to believe it. Most of the suffering we experience comes not from life itself, but from believing everything our mind tells us about life. Your mind says you're failing. You believe it. Your mind says you're falling behind. You believe it. Your mind says you're not good enough, and you believe it. But what if you didn't? What if you could step back and see your thoughts not as commands or absolute truths, but as passing weather, clouds moving across a vast sky? In Buddhist teachings, there's a powerful practice called mindfulness of thoughts. It teaches you to notice your thoughts without getting caught in them, to watch them come and go without grabbing on, without fighting them, without believing them automatically. It's like sitting by a river, watching the water flow. You don't jump in and try to control the river. You don't chase every stick floating by. You sit, you watch, you let the river flow. Your thoughts are like that river. They flow through your mind all day long. Some are beautiful, some are ugly, some are helpful, some are hurtful, but none of them are you. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. You are the sky behind the weather. You are the riverbank, steady and unmoving, while the water rushes by. Think about how much lighter your life would feel if you didn't believe every thought that crossed your mind. Think about how much freedom you would have if you could watch your thoughts instead of being dragged around by them. Imagine this. A thought pops up, I can't handle this. Instead of spiraling into panic, you notice it. You say, that's fear talking. You breathe. You let it pass. Or a thought arises, I am not good enough. Instead of collapsing under the weight of it, you step back. You recognize. That's an old story. I don't have to believe it today. Mindfulness teaches you to label your thoughts gently, not to fight them, not to judge them, just to notice them. You can say, there's worry, there's judgment, there's fear, there's regret. And in doing so, you create space between you and the thought, space to choose how you respond, space to breathe, space to stay grounded. Because here's the thing. Thoughts are automatic. They arise without your permission. They're shaped by your past experiences, your fears, your hopes, your conditioning. You can't control which thoughts show up, but you can control how much power you give them. You can learn to watch your thoughts with the same calm curiosity you would use to watch clouds moving across the sky. You can notice them without chasing them, without wrestling them, without letting them drag you down. It's not about having a perfectly quiet mind. It's about having a mind you don't have to believe all the time. It's about remembering that you have a choice. You can choose not to engage with every fearful prediction. You can choose not to believe every harsh judgment. You can choose to be the watcher, not the worrier. There's a practice in mindfulness called noting. When a thought arises, instead of getting caught up in it, you simply note it. Worry, planning, self-criticism. You name it gently, and then you let it go. You don't have to argue with it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to believe it. You just watch. It sounds simple, but it changes everything. Because when you watch your thoughts instead of believing them, you realize something profound. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. And that changes everything. You stop being a prisoner of your mind. You stop being dragged from past to future, from fear to regret, from judgment to doubt. You start living in the steady, open space of awareness. You start living in the present. Imagine how different your life could feel if you carried this simple truth with you every day. Just because I think it doesn't mean it's true. Just because my mind says it doesn't mean I have to believe it. You would walk through life with more calm, more clarity, more freedom. You would meet your fears with compassion instead of panic. You would meet your doubts with kindness instead of cruelty. You would meet your regrets with understanding instead of shame, because you would know that thoughts are just thoughts. They come, they go, and you are bigger than all of them. There's a story about a student who asked a Zen master, "Master, how do I find peace?" The master replied, "By not grabbing every thought that passes by." The student asked, "But how do I do that?" The master smiled and said, "Imagine sitting by a river. Watch the water. Let it flow. Don't jump in." That's what mindfulness of thoughts teaches us. To sit by the river of our mind, to watch the thoughts flow by, and not to jump in after every single one. It's a practice, a daily choice, a muscle you build over time. At first, it's hard. Your mind is used to dragging you along. It's used to convincing you that every thought is urgent, important, true. But the more you practice, the more space you create, the more freedom you find. You learn to respond instead of react. You learn to choose which thoughts deserve your attention. You learn to live from a place of calm observation instead of frantic reactivity. And slowly, your mind becomes a quieter place, not because the thoughts disappear, but because you stop chasing them. You stop giving them all your power. You start living from the steady, silent awareness underneath all the noise. And that's where real peace lives. Not in trying to control your thoughts, not in trying to have a perfect mind, but in remembering that you are not your mind. You are the awareness behind it. You are the sky, not the weather. You are the riverbank, not the rushing water. You are the watcher, not the worrier. Start practicing, start noting, start watching. When a thought arises, notice it, name it, let it pass. Don't grab it. Don't chase it. Don't believe it automatically. Just watch. And as you watch, you'll notice something incredible. You'll notice that most of the fears you carried were only thoughts. You'll notice that most of the doubts you believed were only stories. You'll notice that most of the regrets you clung to were only memories. You'll notice that you are still here, still breathing, still standing, still capable of choosing peace. You don't have to believe everything you think. You don't have to fix every thought that arises. You don't have to fight your mind. You can watch, you can breathe, you can let go. And in that letting go, you find freedom. Real freedom. Real freedom. The kind that no thought can touch. The kind that no fear can steal. The kind that no doubt can destroy. Because it was never in your mind to begin with. It was always in you, waiting, steady, strong, free. If there's one thing most people are really good at, it's being hard on themselves. You mess up and the voice in your head says, "How could you be so stupid?" You fall behind and it whispers, "You're a failure." You feel afraid or overwhelmed and it shouts, "You should be stronger than this." Most of us would never speak to someone we love the way we speak to ourselves. But somehow, we've learned to believe that harshness is necessary, that self-criticism will make us better, that being hard on ourselves will somehow force us into becoming who we're supposed to be. But Buddhist wisdom and a lot of modern psychology tell a different story. They tell us that harshness doesn't heal, judgment doesn't transform, self-hatred doesn't lead to growth. If anything, they keep us stuck in shame, stuck in fear, stuck in a cycle of never feeling good enough. Real change, real healing begins somewhere else. It begins with compassion. Not just compassion for others, compassion for yourself. This might feel uncomfortable at first. It might feel soft or weak or indulgent, but it's not. Self-compassion is one of the most powerful practices you can build. It's not weakness, it's strength. It's not giving up. It's giving yourself the foundation you need to actually grow. Imagine standing in front of a cracked mirror. The cracks don't erase your reflection. The cracks don't make the light disappear. They're just there, part of the surface. But the reflection remains. The light still shines. You are like that mirror. You are not perfect. You have cracks. You have cracks. You have flaws. You have regrets and mistakes and fears. But none of that takes away your worth. None of that erases your light. You don't need to become flawless to be lovable. You don't need to fix yourself to be worthy. You don't need to fix yourself to be worthy. You are already enough. There's a quiet, radical kind of power in accepting yourself as you are, in placing a hand on your heart and saying, "Even here, even now, I am enough." Self-compassion doesn't mean you stop striving. It doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you stop punishing yourself along the way. It means you stop using shame as a fuel for your journey. Because shame doesn't lead to transformation. It leads to paralysis. It leads to hiding. It leads to self-doubt and fear and endless cycles of self-criticism. But compassion leads to healing. Compassion leads to real growth. Compassion says, "I am doing the best I can with what I have, and I can keep going without hating myself for being human." Think about how you treat a child who is scared. You don't yell at them to be braver. You don't shame them for feeling afraid. You get down to their level. You speak gently. You offer comfort. You remind them they're safe. You remind them they're loved. Your own fear, your own doubt, your own struggle, it deserves the same kind of gentleness. When you feel anxious, when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you're not enough, try this. Pause. Place a hand over your heart. Take a breath. And speak to yourself the way you would to someone you love. "It's okay, I'm here. I'm doing the best I can." It might feel awkward at first. You might think it's silly or soft, but try it anyway. You'll be amazed at what changes. You'll notice that the inner critic quiets down. You'll notice that the panic softens. You'll notice that you feel less alone inside your own mind. Because here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy of kindness. You don't need to earn love, not even your own. You are worthy just because you are. You are worthy when you're thriving, and you are worthy when you're struggling. You are worthy when you're brave, and you are worthy when you're scared. You are worthy all the time, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Self-compassion isn't about making excuses. It's about telling the truth. The truth that being human is hard. The truth that struggle is part of the deal. The truth that imperfection isn't a flaw. It's the very fabric of being alive. And when you practice self-compassion, you're not just being kind to yourself. You're building a foundation for real peace. Because peace doesn't come from finally being perfect. Peace comes from finally accepting that you don't have to be. It comes from laying down the heavy burden of self-judgment. It comes from meeting yourself with kindness instead of cruelty. It comes from walking through life not as your own enemy, but as your own friend. Imagine how different your life would feel if you treated yourself with the same tenderness you offer to the people you love. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you stopped carrying the weight of all your supposed failures and flaws. Imagine how much more energy you would have for growth, for healing, for joy, if you weren't using it all to fight yourself. Self-compassion is a skill. It's a practice. It's something you build little by little, day by day. You can start small. The next time you catch yourself being harsh, pause. The next time you hear that inner voice say, "You're not good enough," stop. Take a breath, put a hand on your heart, and whisper something kinder. "I'm doing the best I can. I'm allowed to be a work in progress. I am worthy of love, even now." The more you practice, the easier it gets. The more you practice, the quieter the critic becomes. The more you practice, the more space you create for real growth to happen. Because growth rooted in love is the kind that lasts. It's the kind that transforms. It's the kind that heals. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to be anyone other than who you are right now. You are enough. You are worthy. You are loved. Even with the cracks, even with the scars, even with the fear and the doubt and the mess, especially with the cracks, especially with the scars. Because where the light gets in, so be gentle with yourself. Be kind, be patient, be loving. The world is already hard enough. You don't need to be one more person making it harder. You can be a safe place for yourself. You can be a home for yourself. You can be the voice of compassion that you've been waiting for. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are on your way. You are on your way. You are not unworthy. You are enough, exactly as you are. Worry has a strange way of convincing us we're doing something important. It feels busy. It feels urgent. It feels like maybe, just maybe, if we worry enough, we'll somehow prevent the bad things from happening. But the truth is, worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. You sit there rocking back and forth, your mind racing through what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. You feel exhausted afterward, but nothing in your life has actually changed. The problems are still there. The uncertainty is still there. The future is still unknown. Worry feels productive, but it's not. It burns energy without building anything. It drains your peace without solving anything. It keeps you trapped, not in the present moment, not in meaningful action, but in endless loops of fear and doubt. Buddhist wisdom offers another way. It invites us to stop mistaking worry for preparation. It invites us to replace the frantic energy of worry with the steady energy of purposeful action. Think about it like this. Worry is noise. Purposeful action is music. Worry scatters your energy. Purposeful action focuses it. Worry paralyzes you. Purposeful action frees you. You don't need to think your way out of every fear. You don't need to predict and prevent every possible outcome. You just need to take the next small, clear, purposeful step. One breath, one choice, one action. Imagine standing in a dark room. You're scared. You can't see what's ahead. Worry tells you to stand still and imagine every possible danger in the dark. Purposeful action tells you to reach for a flashlight and take one small step forward. You may not see the whole path. You may not know where it leads, but with each small step, more of the path is revealed. You don't need to know the whole plan. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to move. Gently, calmly, purposefully, in the direction of what matters. Start by asking yourself, what is one small thing I can do right now? Not the perfect thing. Not the final solution. Just the next right thing. Maybe it's sending that email you've been avoiding. Maybe it's taking a walk to clear your mind. Maybe it's making a list. Maybe it's having a conversation you've been putting off. Maybe it's simply taking a breath and reminding yourself that you don't have to solve everything today. Worry tells you that you have to fix it all at once. Purposeful action reminds you that life is built step by step, brick by brick, moment by moment. Worry says, what if it doesn't work out? Purposeful action says, I'll take the step anyway. Worry says, what if I fail? Purposeful action says, I'll learn and grow either way. Worry says, what if I'm not enough? Purposeful action says, I'll show up as I am, and that will be enough. You don't have to be fearless to take action. You just have to be willing. Worry will always whisper reasons to stay stuck. But action, even small, imperfect action, breaks the spell of fear. Each small step weakens worry's grip. Each small choice strengthens your courage. Each small action reminds you that you are capable, that you are not powerless, that you are not a victim of your thoughts. You are a creator. You are a participant in your own life. Buddhism teaches that right action is part of the path to peace. Not perfect action, not guaranteed success action. Right action, action aligned with your values. Action rooted in clarity, not fear. Action taken from a place of presence, not panic. And here's the beautiful part. When you shift from worry to a purposeful action, you feel different inside. You feel steadier, calmer, more grounded, because you're no longer spinning your wheels. You're moving, you're living, you're showing up for your life one step at a time. You're not lost in endless thought loops. You're engaged with the world as it is, imperfect, uncertain, full of possibilities. You start to realize that you don't need to wait for the fear to disappear before you move. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment before you act. You don't need to wait for total certainty before you live. You can act with fear in your pocket. You can move with doubt riding shotgun. You can choose to keep going, even when the path isn't clear. Because action clarifies, action illuminates, action heals. You don't overcome fear by thinking about it. You overcome fear by walking through it, by taking it with you, step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment. There's a quiet confidence that grows when you live this way. Not the loud, flashy confidence of knowing you'll succeed, but the deep, steady confidence of knowing you'll show up, knowing you'll move forward, knowing you'll keep taking the next right step no matter what. And that is what builds a life of peace and purpose. Not the absence of fear, not the guarantee of success, but the daily choice to replace worry with action, to replace spinning with stepping, to replace paralysis with movement. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. The next time you find yourself trapped in worry, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what is one small, purposeful thing I can do right now? Then do it. Gently, bravely, without waiting to feel ready, without waiting for the fear to leave, without waiting for the fear to leave, without waiting for life to become perfect. Move anyway, live anyway, love anyway, because your life, your real life, is waiting not in the endless loops of worry, but in the simple, courageous steps of purposeful action. And step by step, you'll build something beautiful. Not a life without fear, but a life bigger than fear. Not a life without uncertainty, but a life rooted in presence and purpose. One small step, one quiet breath, one clear... Life will always be full of things you can't control. The news cycle, the traffic, the way people speak to you, the mistakes you make, the unexpected turns your life takes. There will always be things that trigger fear, anger, sadness, anxiety. But here's something Buddhist wisdom teaches, and it's something that can change everything about the way you live. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to react to every thought that crosses your mind. You don't have to react to every emotion that rises up in your heart. You don't have to react to every situation that pokes at your nerves. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is your power. The power to pause, the power to breathe, the power to choose. Most of us don't live with that space. We react automatically out of habit. A rude comment, and we snap back. A fearful thought, and we spiral into panic. A painful memory, and we retreat into anger or sadness. But the truth is, you are not your reactions. You are not the anger. You are not the fear. You are not the sadness. You are the stillness beneath the noise. When you learn to pause, even for a moment, you reclaim that space. You create a gap between what happens and what you do next. In that gap, you find freedom. In that gap, you find peace. Imagine for a moment that your mind is the sky, and your emotions are the weather. Sometimes the sky is clear. Sometimes it's stormy. Sometimes it's calm. Sometimes it's calm. It doesn't try to control the weather. It doesn't fight it. It doesn't react to every cloud and gust of wind. The sky remains steady, open, vast. You can live that way too. You can learn to sit with your emotions without being ruled by them. You can learn to notice your thoughts without being dragged around by them. You can learn to experience life without reacting to every rise and fall. It starts with a breath. The next time you feel anger rising, pause. The next time fear grabs you, pause. The next time sadness clouds your heart, pause. Take one slow, steady breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Come back to now. Not to the story your mind is telling, not to the spiral your fear is spinning, to now. You don't have to deny your feelings. You don't have to suppress them. You just have to hold them gently, like clouds moving across the sky. You don't have to fix everything right away. You don't have to solve every problem in the moment. You just have to stay present. Presence is powerful. It allows you to choose your response instead of reacting automatically. It allows you to move from a place of calm instead of chaos. It allows you to live with clarity instead of confusion. And over time, that choice, the choice to pause, to breathe, to stay present, changes everything. You become less reactive, less tossed around by the storms of life, less trapped by your own thoughts and emotions. You become steadier, calmer, more rooted in yourself. Not because life stops being hard, not because emotions stop rising, but because you stop losing yourself in them. You learn to stay grounded in the midst of chaos. You learn to stay calm in the middle of the storm. You learn to live with the kind of peace that isn't fragile, the kind of peace that doesn't depend on everything going your way. The kind of peace that lives in the stillness of your own heart. There's a quiet power in being able to feel deeply, to experience all the emotions of life without being controlled by them. There's a quiet strength in choosing to pause, to breathe, to watch, instead of react. There's a quiet wisdom in remembering that you are the sky, not the storm, the awareness, not the thought, the stillness, not the chaos. And in that wisdom you find freedom. Freedom from the endless cycles of reactivity. Freedom from being pushed and pulled by every passing thought and feeling. Freedom to live your life with clarity, with intention, with peace. Start small. The next time you feel triggered, pause. The next time you feel overwhelmed, breathe. The next time life throws you a curveball, stay still for just a moment longer than you usually would. Give yourself that gift. The gift of presence, the gift of choice. And slowly, day by day, you'll build a life not ruled by reactivity, but guided by awareness. A life not of frantic reaction, but of calm, steady response. A life not built on the shifting sands of emotion, but on the solid ground of mindfulness. This is not easy, but it is simple, and it is powerful. You don't have to react to everything. You can choose peace. You can choose presence. You can choose freedom. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. One choice at a time. And slowly, without even realizing it, you'll become the kind of person you once thought you had to wait for life to make you. Calm, steady, peaceful, free, already within you, already within you, already within, already waiting. All we had to do is begin. So much of life is spent waiting, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the fear to leave, waiting for the pain to pass. You don't have to wait for life to calm down before you find peace. You don't have to wait for the fear to disappear before you move forward. You don't have to wait for perfection before you allow yourself to feel joy. Everything you are looking for, peace, freedom, happiness, love, it's already here. It's already within you, waiting for you to stop searching elsewhere and simply come home. Come home to this breath. Come home to this moment. Come home to yourself. Not the perfect version of yourself. Not the someday, maybe version. The you that's here, right now. Flawed, messy, beautiful. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You are on your... You are not behind. You are right where you are meant to be. This moment, as it is enough. And so are you. Breathe. Smile gently. Take one small step. Not because everything is certain, not because the path is clear, but because your life is happening now, and it's too precious to spend it waiting. The journey to peace, to freedom, to joy, it begins not out there. Within you. With this one, quiet, courageous choice to be present, to be kind, to be free. Thank you for sharing this moment. Thank you for trusting this journey. And remember, you are the sky, not the storm. You are the awareness. You are already home.